Hey girls, I'm Madeline and welcome to a very early postpartum workout, maybe a very early prenatal workout, or a very late game prenatal workout. All of that to say, we're basically going to be focused on breath. This is very deep core intentional, very low intensity, low impact, a lot of breathing. So let's get started with a stretch. So one foot goes out, one comes in close to your body, opposite hand to opposite knee. We're just going to reach up and over, making sure this finds you in a good place and is not pinching your low back. See about opening your chest. Use that hand to knee connection to reach up a little higher. And breathe. From there, take this hand down to your mat and go up and over, opposite direction. We're going to get these hamstrings on our first side. See if we can reach for this foot with both hands. If you can't, grab a hold of your calf and just pull your chest straight down towards your shin. Big breath. From there, all we're going to do is switch sides. Pull opposite leg in close to your body. Opposite knee, opposite arm. Big breath. One more breath there. Let that side body go. Let it stretch. Release some tension. And from there, reaching down to your mat and up and over. Lengthen the other side. We've just compressed it. Lastly, we're coming down for this hamstring. Big pull, chest comes down towards your knee, nose towards your shin. Again, if you can't reach, feel free to grab onto calf, backside of your knee. Feel this stretch in your low back on your opposite side or this hamstring. Next, we're going to carefully get up and head to a chair. So if you are very prenatal right now, I want you to get up like this, here, and then one leg up, and then we step. Things still pop even when you aren't prenatal. My knees just popped. Okay, so here is where the breath comes into place. If you just take one breath, and it comes out of a lot of chest rise right here, we want to make sure it's coming all from your belly instead. So this is going to look instead like this. I like keeping my hands here because then I can feel the muscles underneath my rib cage working. So essentially, if you wrap fingers around your ribs, your lowest ribs, thumbs all the way around to your back, we're just going to breathe right here. We call this 360 breathing. I want you to inhale, fill up in your belly, and exhale all from your belly. Again. One more. From there, we're just going to add a pelvic floor lift to that squeeze. So essentially, this is a Kegel squeeze. At the same time, we're drawing ribs in, belly button tight, lifting pelvic floor. 3 breaths. Notice how long these breaths are. It's a sharp inhale, but it's a long, slow exhale. Keep going. Last one. Lifting pelvic floor, drawing ribs in close to your body. From there, we're going to work on that pattern but strengthening it. So now I want you to imagine the same exact move but doing it stronger. So a stronger breath, stronger exhale. really forcing air out. I'm even kind of applying some pressure underneath my fingers right here to activate those muscles. Use your core, use your internal, external obliques to push that air out of your belly. We'll get a few more. Still lifting pelvic floor every time. We're strengthening both. I want you to keep that intensity, that strengthening intensity, both core, TVA muscles, pelvic floor. Now we're just gonna add a little forward reach. From here, I wanna make sure that when I reach up, it doesn't come with a low back arch. That exposes my ribs and creates pain in the low back. So we stay ribs tucked to hip points. Still have that pelvic floor lift. Let's get 2 more. Last one, check in with those ribs. From there, we're gonna work on standing from this position in a safe way. Keep your breath connected. Think about leading this move with your pelvic floor. So we go, inhale, exhale, tuck booty underneath on the top, ribs to hip points. That's super important. That's your core, and that's what's gonna protect your low back. So let's try again. Really digging my heels into the ground to make this happen. Rather than thinking about swinging with momentum and getting up however I can, I'm pushing my way up safely. Good there. Let's take a little side step. And we're gonna work on what's called a crib reach. So if you're not already reaching into a crib, there's a good chance you will be soon. So instead of this being just like an RDL, which is where we would pick things up off of the floor potentially, a crib is harder because you're reaching over something. So we want to focus on getting as close to the imaginary crib as possible. Even if you have a little something you'd like to put in front of you, that's fine. And then we work on pushing our hips back and bringing our chest forward. So with this move, I'm not using any weight. I'm just going to reach forward as if I'm picking up a baby. There's my pickup. And there's my tuck. Booty underneath, ribs to hip points is super important. Here we go again. Booty back, push those hips back. Arms are forward, as close to my center as we can be. There's your exhale. Core tight. Let's get one more. And then the last move standing is just like we started today. We're practicing getting up and down off of the floor. So we're gonna go reverse lunge and then stand up through this front heel. We'll get the same side for 5. This is how we'll go up steps. Rather than pushing our way off of our back leg and letting momentum do her thing, we're gonna control this move safely. Let's get 2 more. And last one. Good, same thing, other leg. I think we did 6 first leg. We're gonna get 6 second leg. Find balance in here. If you're finding it difficult to balance, let's train that. Instead of using something to help you, obviously be safe, but let's focus on trying to create balance in our ankle, in our knee, in our hip. Connect to your breath. Last one here. And we're gonna safely take it down to the floor. So, starting off in a quadruped, hands and knees. Again, we're just gonna breathe. So let's go. Knees are comfortable. If you need extra padding underneath your knees, totally fine. If this is even a little too much for your core, take this up onto a little box or a step, and you'll be a lot less gravity dependent. So let's start on the floor. So let's start on the floor. When I breathe, it's tempting to go chest rise. We don't want to do that. We want to go let belly fall down and draw it back into your body. That's where those muscles are working. By letting your belly fall, we stretch those muscles in a good way because we strengthen them as we pull belly back in. So, shoulders away from ears. Nice neutral spine. Now I really want you to focus on lifting pelvic floor with every exhale. So think inhale, fill up with air, and think exhale, lift pelvic floor, draw those ribs in close to your body, nice and strong here. I'm even applying some downward pressure like this through the mat. Watch my lats kick on. That's another deep part of our core unit. From there, we're gonna make sure we keep our ribs tucked in tight. We're gonna practice reaching forward with one arm and then alternating, reaching forward with the other arm without arching our back in that process. So ribs are drawn in tight. Think about reaching forward in the room rather than reaching up toward the ceiling. Good. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, but with our legs. So we want to go right here, but again, without letting any of our core stability go. Draw those ribs in tight. And we're going same leg for 4. Last one. And opposite leg. Really shouldn't feel any low back pain right here. This should be all your glute and your core working. Last move in this position is our child's pose to modified high plank. So make sure you've got space. We started in a nice deep child's pose. This is gonna feel good on the low back after all that work. And as you exhale, we're pulling forward, tucking our booty underneath us and landing this in a brief high plank before going back to your child's pose. So looks like this. Make sure you're watching from the side so that when you hit your high plank, you're not way down like this or way up high. We want a nice flat board of a body. Last one. And then we'll flip this and take it to the mat. Next, we're gonna take it to the floor. So carefully lay down to your back. So if you are still prenatal, this is gonna be tricky. I want you to slow rock down. And if you're postpartum, I want you to really watch the center of your core. We don't want it to pop up like this. That is your center core working overtime. It's dangerous. Make sure we're drawing in belly button tucked as hard as we can. Support all the way down to your back. And we'll land here. Just a little bit. And now we're just gonna breathe. So find your ribs, or find your lowest ribs, find your hip points, and inhale through the belly, and exhale. If you are later game in your prenatal journey, this may be uncomfortable to you to be flat on your back. If that's the case, either prop up on your elbows, maybe a little pillow, exercise ball. Try not to be flat on your back. Let's get one more good deep breath. Think about these ribs. Drawing in, hugging close, hugging tight to your body. Now we add that pelvic floor lift every time. Notice my whole pelvis doesn't lift. It is just pelvic floor. It's just a Kegel squeeze. Shoulders away from your ears. Last breath. From here, we're going hands up overhead. We're going to reach overhead with just one arm at a time. Again, I'm working on getting you so that you can dissociate. And every time you lift hands overhead, this doesn't happen. I want your hand to lift over your head with your core still on tight. So that's our goal here. Press your belly button into the mat. Lift pelvic floor. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale on the up. Exhale with the other hand on the down. If that feels easy to you, reach for your little squishy ball. Squeeze it, and we go both arms. Remember, we lift pelvic floor with our exhale. From there, take your squishy ball to the opposite knee. And now we're going inhale. Exhale with a push. When you push, make sure we don't guard way up like this. Make sure we are just turning core on and essentially cinching our corset in even tighter. Push. And one more. And we'll go same thing, opposite side. Inhale. Push. Teaching you not to bear down with your push, teaching you to draw in, gently contract your core. One more, girls. Last thing that we're gonna do today, and you can do extra reps after this video because this is so good for you. Again, if you are prenatal and this has been too long on your back, feel free to take it with propped up elbows. You can do all the same moves with propped up elbows. I'm gonna take it on my back and we are going to squish our ball, lift pelvic floor, let go of pelvic floor only, and then let go of the ball. If you find that difficult to dissociate, totally fine, totally normal, but we totally need to work on it. That's no different than if I said raise both arms, now drop only your left arm, and both of them went down. We should be able to control our muscle groups a little bit better than most of us can, which is why we're working on this, so it's okay. So we're gonna do it again. Let's start, lift pelvic floor, squish the ball, let go of the ball, Let go pelvic floor. Check in with your breath, your shoulders, your ribs, and do it again. Squish the ball. Lift pelvic floor. Let go of only pelvic floor. And let go of only the ball. And then we essentially do the reverse. Lift pelvic floor. Squish the ball. Let go of the ball. And let go of pelvic floor. Remember both of those. So it goes pelvic floor, ball, ball, pelvic floor. And then there's also ball, pelvic floor, ball. You can get both variations, extra reps after the video. Next, remove your ball. And we're going core activation. Lift pelvic floor. Relax pelvic floor. Relax core. Again, if you feel that second pelvic floor and core kind of blend together, work on separating them. So let's do the opposite, which is lift pelvic floor. Flex your core. Let go of only your core. And then let go of only pelvic floor. We'll take the first variation. Flex only your core. Lift pelvic floor. Relax pelvic floor. Relax your core. And finally, lift pelvic floor. Flex your core. Relax your core. Relax your pelvic floor. Last one, and we'll be finished. We're going to work on inhale, exhale with our pelvic floor lift, and we're going to create a double exhale out of this one. So when you think you've gotten everything out of your belly, there's usually a little bit more left. So we'll work on here. Inhale, fill up. Exhale. Double exhale. There's a very calm space, being completely out of breath at the very bottom of that move. Last one. Good. If you are super comfortable here, feel free to stay. Take a few figure 4 stretches. If you need to get off of your back, totally fine. You can do these stretches in a seated position on a chair. Those pelvic floor awareness exercises are really, really important. You can work on those anywhere, when you're driving in a car, laying down before bed. Throw those in often. Those are going to help you later in life. You'll be thankful that you applied yourself. From there, using our legs to help us get up. Make sure we're drinking plenty of water, getting our protein in. Do this workout as many times as you want. It's safe. It can be done every single day. And thanks for joining me.